Trust me, the moment Africa begins to realize that it is capable to develop on its own, that will be the end of poverty in Africa. Currently, we don't believe we can develop by ourselves. But let me tell you, Africa is rich. It's just a matter of beginning to do the right job. For how long will Africa be receiving aid? This is nonsense. Aid is not going to develop Africa. Aid is just doing destruction of Africa. Let's begin to embrace African development initiative, things that are African tailored. We need to develop Africa for African people, by African people. That's the right development. By emphasizing on the African way of development does not mean we would like to be at loggerheads with the Western countries. We are not fighting for them. We just want to say we are thankful for the hope that you've been giving us. But now we want to stop receiving aid from you, want to do things on our own way, want to begin to develop in our own way, want to depend on ourselves. Yes, you wish us well by giving us aid, by helping us. But I think we are mature enough now to do things on our own. We can develop. We've got all that is required for us to develop. I think that's what we're trying to say. And that's the reason of this video. I just want to speak to my fellow African people to begin to think that we are equally capable of doing what Western countries are doing. We can build our country in such a way that it can be attractive by the Western people. They come to Africa, they want to enjoy local Africa by living a primitive life, living in the bush in Africa, thinking that's the holiday they're enjoying in Africa, when African people that are not living in the bush. All right? We don't want to be in the bush. We want to develop to have better Africa for African people. That's what we're trying to communicate. But our leaders, they think like every time we need help, we should ask the International Monetary Fund, the European Union, the World Bank, the Americans, the Chinese to help us. Of course, it's good to help, but we're saying no, stop a minute. We've been receiving help for a long period of time, but nothing has happened to Africa. We're still the same. Actually, even in more countries in Africa getting poorer, despite you pumping in a lot of money in Africa, billions and trillions of money in local currencies, and even billions in dollars coming to Africa, but Africa is not developing. So we said, that's enough actually. Want to do things in our own way. Want to develop by ourselves. Want to work hard to build the Africa we want. That's the news that we're giving everybody else who is watching this video. What do you think? Is that not the good way of thinking? Should we keep on depending on aid to develop? Do you think like Africa will develop because we're receiving aid? Which country is getting richer today because of receiving donation? How many organizations that are receiving funding from outside the continent of Africa, but the impact of those organizations in the lives of the people within the continent of Africa is zero, even there's nothing at all. It's minimal. The more development organizations in Africa which have been working for empowering lives of African people, ending HIV, ending poverty, literacy for girls, education for women, youth empowerment. But all this have not helped to change Africa despite the presence of these organizations for a quite long period of time. Africa remains poorest, and African people are still poor. We can do something better. I believe it's the time now Africa should wake up and embrace independence economically, politically, religiously, in all aspects of life. Africa should be able to stand strong alone. That's the way to develop, that's the way to go. I believe we have what it takes for Africa to develop. Check in Africa, almost each and every country in Africa has got minerals. We've got minerals. But what are we doing for minerals? They're coming to Africa to exploit us. And they're building their continent, they're building their countries. When they give back in Africa, they give back in terms of aid, but how much aid do we get which can change African people? Say, like, they take trillions in dollars from Africa, they give back in Africa $1 million US, $200,000, but they're getting trillions in Africa almost every day. We are being robbed of our materials, our resources, in a broad daylight. And this has been happening for a long period of time. What has this contributed to? Just poverty for the people in Africa. And Africa remains poorest. Check in Angola, they've got oil, but who is benefiting from it? Just few people. And making Angola to be more expensive in Africa, which means it's not affordable yet. They're rich in oil. They've got a lot of minerals. Every country in Africa actually is rich in minerals. But these are not benefiting the African people. Who is benefiting then? Those other countries that come to Africa to get our raw materials. And they go and process them and make things that we are buying from them at a very expensive price. So you can see how poor we're getting, despite us contributing to the development of the world, because our raw materials are helping to build the world technologically, mechanically, and in all aspects of life. So it's enough with depending on other people to build Africa. We need to start doing things on ourselves. So let's think as African people to develop the continent of Africa. It is possible. Thank you. Have a very good day. Bye-bye.